This is Grumble Jones. The situation is dire. We must hold the line.
Welcome to Grumble Jones. This is the next AAR that we're doing. Welcome back to Grumble Jones ASL blog. This is our latest AAR. This will be an AAR for J268 from the Journal 16, Independence Day, which would be apropos for the weekend as we record this on July 2nd, right before July 4th, obviously. Thought it would be a good one to do. So this scenario, as I said, is from the Journal 16. We played it on June 25th, 2026. In this case, the attacker was Dan Best, and he was in command of the 1st Czech Independent Armor Brigade. I would be the defending Germans, elements of the Festung Dunkirchen garrison. We played 5.5 out of 5.5 turns, which is always the best way you want to play every scenario. Again, we play fast. We played it in 2 hours. I would say that typically would take longer than 2 hours, but we blow and go when we play this game. It would end up being a German victory. And you'll see a lot of similarities between this scenario and the Husum Hotfoot, which we did recently. Virtually the same kind of a situation where the British, along with armor, are trying to basically oust the Germans from a victory area in an urban setting. In this case, we would see the defender win. Part of that, too, will be because my dice were average to good instead of bad to bad. So it always makes a difference when the dice cooperate. So here's a look at ASR Journal 16. If you haven't got that one, you should definitely grab a copy of it. J268 Independence Day is designed by Noah Bredlinger. And this would be the first time I've played, I think, anything from Noah Brentlinger. And I thought this was a pretty decent scenario overall. The roar balance on this, currently 8 Czech victories and 12 German victories. So hard to say it's necessarily pro-German, but it certainly feels a little bit pro-German. And anytime the British are attacking and don't get smoke, yeah, they're in trouble. So here's a look at the board, board 12A. Move the camera. Can we move the camera? Yeah. You get a good look at this board. 12A is a great board. I see it a lot in a lot of designs. I've used it in a few designs. It's just an enjoyable board. Maybe the only thing I really dislike is this gully system. It can reduce the playability on this board for various scenarios. I've seen it where it's been used as a river or a stream, which is a great idea for that gully. But it does tend to overshadow the board sometimes. The victory conditions in this one, the Czech player wins a game in if there are no good order German multi-man counters on or within 2 hexes of hex H9, which is right here in the middle. So this zone 2 out is where the Germans have to be at game in. And they have to set up within 5. And one of the SSRs for this scenario is the Germans may not leave their setup zone. Any German unit forced to route out of the setup zone or otherwise moves out of the setup zone is eliminated. And I had to be careful as the Germans when I was trying to trap some routed units that were DM that I wanted to eliminate. I had to carefully look at how far away I could move. And in the case, as you'll see in this game, I was able to do it successfully. So the defender we talked about earlier is it's elements of the Festung Dunkirchen garrison. Just a little blurb, and I shamelessly steal these from WikiLeaks or WikiLeaks from Wiki. But in this case, there were various German forces that were isolated along the coast post D-Day, and many of them were not eliminated till very near the end of the war. And some like Jersey and Guernsey in the Channel Islands were really never bothered. They surrendered en masse at the end of the war, much like Norway did as well. The attackers are elements of Czechoslovakian 1st Czechoslovak Independent Armor Brigade. I'm very unfamiliar with them. Did a little Google searching on them. Flames of War has a whole volume or codex about these guys. It's free PDF to download. Highly recommend that. Even if you don't play Flames of War, it's a tremendously good resource for how the unit was organized, what they had, a little bit of their history, and pictures here and there. It was difficult to find pictures on these guys, in all honesty. The Essentially, these guys really didn't see any action until about 1943 when they were organized, and they were used pretty much to just mop up German formations. Although I would say in this particular instance, they had some pretty hard fighting to take over the Dunkirk area. So we talked about the concentric circle. So basically, the yellow zone would be the victory zone for the Germans that came in. A white circle would roughly denote the setup area. We're already kind of into the action. I neglected to take an immediate beginning picture, which I do from time to time. But in this case, you're seeing the first turn movement of the Czech force as it advances. It's got 2 Cromwells and I think 12 squads of infantry. So pretty tough. Dan likes to deploy into half squads, and this is a conversation that we have frequently. Do play testers test for half squad flooding? This is something that's really started to come into play and is in my mind. At the last year's Grumbler, Nathan Wagner and I played a game, and he flooded me with half squads, and he was pretty aggressive at deploying more in each rally phase. This was something as I'm used to seeing half squads quite a bit, but in this particular instance, there were so many half squads coming at me that you are forced to first fire, and it's an excellent tactic if you are advancing with armor because you're going to first fire the guys, and if you run enough half squads up there, you're probably going to get a final fire, and then your tanks are free to move about the country. And that was the case in my game last year against Nathan. In this game, Dan's tanks did not go beyond their infantry support, at least on this first move. They would later in the game, but in this first move, they kind of hung back. I didn't fire at anybody. My troops were 447, so I didn't have the range. I just kind of stayed quiet. My Panzerschreck is here behind this wall. And of course, we've got Panzerfaust capability. My medium machine gun was here, a light machine gun here, light machine gun here. The idea being that I've got fire lanes. I'm a big proponent of fire lanes. It's something that I do as often as I can. And of course, there's always the danger of if there's no leader, you won't get the fire lane if you cower. And that has happened frequently in many cases for me. And additionally, everything that moves through your fire lane has the potential to break. You have the potential to mouth your gun. And this was a recent discussion, I think, on Game Squad, where a tank would literally expend movement within a fire lane to achieve that very thing. But at any rate, this is me, man. I was like, come at me, bro. Come on, bring it. So at the end of the first turn, Dan, had pretty good progress. Didn't have anybody injured in this first move. He was CX on quite a few of his units. These are dummies here. I want to say that these are dummies here and dummies here. The rest of these these might be dummies back here as well. I can't remember if I had 6 or 8 dummies. Like I said, whenever I'm the Germans, I really feel very comfortable. They're my favorite army to play, particularly in the defense, because I know I've got anti-tank capability as much as I need with either anti-tank metallic mines or Panzerfaust. So I generally feel pretty good about that, and plus machine guns. Like I said, fire lanes are something that I look for. I try to create open fields of fire so that I can hit my opponent with this -2, -1, -2 as often as I can because I tend to roll high. So I need the extra minuses. And just as we said, the tanks and their opportunity started to lay fire down. And this is my Panzerschreck, which he obviously, since I'm behind a wall, he assumed correctly that that's where the Panzerschreck was. Cromwell's, that's a tank that you don't use a lot in ASL. I rarely use them. It's an all right tank. It's got good movement. Armor's nothing to write home about. The gun's adequate. So Dan would Malf one of the guns right away, and we've been kind of discussing between ourselves the frequency of malfunctions, and it begins to degrade the game. It degrades the experience of the game. Um, I truly, really hate the malfunction aspect. Um, Obviously, I'm not advocating for any rules change whatsoever, but it is frustrating to deal with malfunctions on a more than regular basis. As an example, a game that we played after this, I had two flamethrowers. I rolled two tens in a row. Each flamethrower knocked out on the first shot, resulted in a pin check. Squad passed pin check. I got zero result. Flamethrowers are gone. Obviously, the flamethrowers were required for that scenario's success. So there's that. In this particular case, Dan had set up a squad that was kind of going through this gully to get behind me. I thought that was a smart move. His idea is he's going to break these guys and he's going to have somebody up here that can prevent them from routing. Either go to crust status or come across here. He did manage to break my Panzerschreck guy, and literally I got nothing from that Panzerschreck for the entirety of the game. In fact, I'm not sure I ever rallied that guy. I think eventually he would casualty reduce, and I don't believe I ever rallied him. But it was a nice break for me that the gun here mouthed. The other Cromwell went across country. Um, I had broken a half squad that tried to come through here. As you can see, Dan got his half squads deployed and coming at me. And I will shoot. Building a wall of resid is also another strategy and something you should do as a defender as often as you can. And the further back you shoot at units, the more ability you have to shoot at moving units that come closer to you, which they will come closer. If you shoot the guy that's adjacent, or you allow the guy to get adjacent before you shoot him, you're going to limit your shots, and you're going to allow the enemy to come right up on you. So I kind of watch this with interest. I don't generally remark on Dan's moves. Dan's a great experienced player. He knows what he's doing. But I did kind of question what this was. Getting behind me, I think, is a great idea. But again, these are dummies over here doing a dance, and he wasn't positive about that yet, but he soon would be. Advancing with British, I struggle with the British. Dan struggles with the British. Neither one of us gets smoke when we need it. And we've discussed countless times that the British need smoke in order to be successful. Over here, his guy came out of the gully, and I was able to break him. And a line of sight will cause him to route to these trees, which will be a bad deal for him. I did manage to get a Panzerfaust. I shot it and was able to destroy the first Cromwell. The back blast would casualty reduce me, but I would not break. I'd simply be casualty reduced. So I had a 1 on the colored die. As you can see, my fire lanes, the medium late hits, then down here. Then I was up at level 1 up here, and he dashed from here to here with his whole stack and an 8-0. And I had one or two factors after everything was said and done, -2, and I managed to pin and break the stack. And that's majorly frustrating when you're attacking and have that happen. But because there was no pressure up here, I was able to take that long distance shot, and why not, and see what happened. And I got lucky. And I would do that twice during the course of this game to this very same 8-0 in unit. The leader would pin both times, and then of course have to break to route back with the men. Over here, residual fire is in effect. Panzerfaust shot, like I said, helped me and hurt me. I needed to eliminate the tank, but it was also costly from shooting out of a building. Now you can also step out of the building and take the extra +2, but because I roll as high as I usually do, I rarely do that. It doesn't feel like it's an option for me. And over here, he's executing this flanking maneuver along with a half squad to support it. I'm Gandy dancing around with these dummies, trying to make you think they're real. Dan already knows if I haven't shot at this guy by now, as he moved across here, they're not real. So he's not too concerned about that at this point in the game. Again, my defense is constructed around my machine guns. They are the number one asset of my defense. Dan would come into close combat. I believe he would lose that particular close combat. Dan typically wins close combat against me. I'm a very poor close combat player. I rarely am able to win on the first chance. I can pin you, I can get ambush, and I'll still roll an 11. It's maddening. But as you can see over here, this unit that had come out of the gully, that he probably should have gone further up the gully and come here and gone into crest to prevent routes. But at any rate, he got broken over here. Now this became his route location because he could get there safely. And then our turn, we're going to try to trap that guy and eliminate him. And you can see again the link, kind of the zone of control, the advance of the British forces at this time, or the Czechs, we should say. My guys, I don't like to ever sit and feel like I'm in a catbird seat, that I've got the edge, but I was very comfortable at this point in the game that we were pushing the Czechs back each time they advanced, and that is the key to this game. Every time that you can delay the attacker, you're buying yourself time. And this is not one where I could trade territory. I can't move out of my setup zone. I didn't have a lot of options, and him placing the tank where he did was a great idea from the standpoint of my being able to move. And I think in our post-game discussion, that was exactly what was on his mind, was preventing me from falling back in skulks to avoid being fired upon. So not a bad thinking process. So you can see my zone of control, the kind of the bulge that I've got. We were able to surround this guy and eliminate that squad. So from my vantage point, everyone I can eliminate, I need to eliminate. Again, like I said, I'm in control. I've got guys. These guys are outside the victory zone at this point. Excuse me, but they'll be able to easily get into the victory zone. And the British, he's spending time trying to rally these guys down here. The 9-1 left the base of fire, so he's got 3 squads tied up in this base of fire. He finally kind of pushed me out of here. But the base of fire guys would be out of the game for the majority of the game. So giving you kind of an idea of where the British forces are, you can see the Germans are pretty much intact and in good shape. These are real units here in the center. Dummy, obviously real over here. And then I believe this is also a dummy unit. Dan would roll a hero. It's one of the quirks that Dan has, is that he almost will always in a rally phase or in a morale check roll snakes and either create a leader or create a hero. There was a period of time last year where I want to say it was 7, 8, 9 games in a row. There's some crazy streak that he had where he would create a hero. Heroes can really undo a game because they're bullet magnets, and that's how Dan and I use them. It's going to just charge and take all the shots, and they're you can't pin them. And with a 9 morale, and the fact that they are going to wound even if you do miss a morale check, they can be a real pain in the backside. In this case, Dan ran that guy straight up the road, I was able to kill him actually. So I got lucky. And again, I was lucky throughout this game. Dan is bringing this tank around, which I'm not terribly upset about that. Obviously, I'm in a Panzerfaust area where I can easily shoot the Panzerfaust, so I was felt good about it. My Shrek guy is still broken; he had not rallied. Over here, this half squad is pressing me, but it's not too concerning. And you can see the main element of his troops is still where they were since turn one. Just another view, and apologize for some of the images. For whatever reason, my camera, which is an awesome Canon, and I've used it for maybe 10 years now. It's just I love the camera. Every now and again, it doesn't quite focus, and I haven't. It's not something I can see when I'm taking a picture. So then when I go to edit the pictures, I'm like, why is that blurry? How did I end up with blurry pictures? So I apologize. There's a couple that are blurry, but were important to kind of show dispositions. So again, Dan is always on the move. I'm putting fire down where I can. I did pull away from the tank because I was in woods and because I knew Dan was pushing this way with his main attack. So I wanted to have as much here as I could. Now, again, these guys are out of the victory zone. H9 here. These guys are in the victory zone, victory zone, victory zone, victory zone. These guys also are going to have to move. Actually, just this guy. Dan would mouth the other gun. And we just talked about that. And here he's got two tanks, mouth the main armament on both of them. That how great an impact was that on the game? We really don't know. He may have never rolled a hit, but you have to assume that it's always an impact when you lose a weapon that you really need. Now he still has the machine guns, so it's still a VBM opportunity with that, and he would definitely go for that. As you can see, we've got everybody in position, ready to move into the victory zone. And as said, he's coming up this path because we have it pretty well covered. He does not have a good axis of advance to get this way. So here we are I think this is the last turn. We've gotten to the last turn of the game. The Cromwell goes for VBM freeze. I shoot a Faust. I successfully destroy the tank. A one on the color die again, and I believe my guy was broken. So that was unfortunate, but the tank is eliminated, and I had plenty of resid in front of me. This guy wasn't concerned about that he could put me in a no good order state with close combat, and then obviously over here as well. But units that moved up this road were killed here, broken, fire lane in place. This guy would get pinned, and he would not be able to move. Actually, I think we're already in our final positions. He was not able to move into the victory location. So you can see all my guys are at victory locations here, except this stack. The final picture that we took of the game, I thought it was a very enjoyable scenario. I believe Dan enjoyed it as well. It was obviously frustrating for him. This situation where the 8-0 kept getting pinned and the guy's broken from the level 1 guy up here shooting these, one -1 shots as he was using the wall in the dash. But fire lanes did their job. I didn't malf any of my machine guns that I'm aware of in this particular game. I might have malfed one of the lights. Yeah, I did malf a light, and I ended up losing it. The one that was with my 8-1 up here. But I did manage to keep the other ones. This is a great scenario if you want to teach somebody how to really effectively use defensive fire. This is a great scenario for that. You would give a newbie, say, hey, defend this village. Setup is limited, so he or she's not going to be tormented by where to set up. Now the British can attack from a variety, from this side. So you do have to be conscious of that. Some of my defense was too far over on this side to effectively deal with this situation. But at any rate, it ended up being a great game. As you can see, the Germans successfully held the town. So that's that. As always, appreciate your attention and love the fact that people are watching these a little bit more than they were with the going cardboard. So until the next time, we'll see you.
Achtung, Achtung! Der Luftschutzwarndienst gibt bekannt.